Hello and welcome to the Star Wars Show, the best place for below-average Star Wars. I'm your host Peter, and I'm joined this week by the returning Alan. Alan, how are you doing?
Hello, Peter. How are you doing? I'm fine.
Yeah, it's been a crazy day. I'm very tired as we get ready to record this episode. Obviously, the trailer dropped in the UK for the Rise of Skywalker, the final trailer.
Yeah.
It dropped at 3:30 a.m. here in the UK, and then we didn't get cinema tickets online till about 9 a.m. here, but they never told us it was going to be 9 a.m. So we're sort of refreshing every hour to finally get them at 9 a.m. and then have to go and do a day's work as well.
Yeah.
So it's been a fun day. We're quite tired, but I'd say we're both extremely excited and emotionally ready to talk about this trailer.
Yeah.
Yep. So for anybody tuning in, that's what we're talking about. This is The Rise of Skywalker, Episode 9, the final saga movie trailer review show. So if you haven't seen the trailer, I recommend you pause on the audio now, go to YouTube, go to Star Wars YouTube channel, watch the trailer maybe about 5 times, and then come back and join us, and you can join in our discussion.
There you go.
Awesome. So Alan, I think I'm just going to dive straight in. We're going to run through the trailer in trailer order.
Yeah.
Although it does get tricky in some bits where we're talking about voiceovers and then lots going on in the background.
Yeah. There is a lot there. A lot of questions.
So I'm just going to start straight off with Lucasfilm logo comes up, pans into Endor, Rey running. The reason why I think it's Endor is Rey kicks something as she runs past, and it's either, I couldn't quite tell if it is looks like the Rebel Alliance helmets, the war on Endor, the ground team war.
It does look like it, but when you look again, I just think it's the wrong colour. You know?
My other thought was maybe it's an A-Wing pilot's helmet.
It could be. You know? My thought was because she's running along and she's got the little training ball that Luke Skywalker used on the Millennium Falcon, I actually thought it was another blast shield, actually.
Well, it is that is the bolt she fires back is from a remote, I believe. But yeah, I do believe that's a Rebel Alliance helmet, and I do believe it's there to symbolise that this is Endor.
Yeah, I think we're definitely on Endor. There's no shadow about that.
She's running. She blocks the lightsaber bolt back. Then it's sort of a quick cut because she jumps over a canyon. And at that point, the lightsaber is back on her waist. So I'm guessing doesn't happen in that order.
No.
And then a quick cut to her jumping inside the ruins, which I think could be the Death Star ruins.
Yeah, it's definitely the Death Star. Definitely. You can tell by the background, there's a lot of Death Star-y type background there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why, but my first thought was she's jumping in the Jakku Star Destroyers, and then straight in my mind I was like, actually no, it won't be. It'll be the Death Star. And obviously, this trailer is very Death Star heavy.
It is, and it's also very heavy on doing things like that to you, like making you think of her jumping around in the Star Destroyer and Jakku and everything else that's happened along the whole series to get to this point. I've noticed that in the trailers that it's very heavy on that, to reference everything. It's quite cool.
Well, it makes sense because I mean, there's some people who complain that Rey sort of powers came from nowhere and it's all a bit silly. When you really think about it, like her life on Jakku as a junker, going in these Star Destroyers, ravaging them, looking for bits, she would have been doing this in those Star Destroyers. So, if anything, her struggles in life then have been like perfect training for now. So you see her inside these ruins, jumping amongst them, and it's like, well, yeah, she's jumping amongst big ships all her life.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, her training was, although it wasn't training, she was doing things in her life that would give her skills and attributes that have helped her now.
Yeah.
Sort of like a subtle training.
Kind of like learning without knowing you're learning.
Yeah, sort of like it's like as if you're sort of semi-conscious, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So while Rey is running in this training sequence, we believe, before it jumps to her in the Death Star, we have Finn. Finn's talking over. He's talking about meeting Rey for the first time, how the Force brought them together. Which I thought was really cool to see Finn talking about the Force like that.
Yeah.
He sort of came full circle from Force Awakens, where he was like, he thinks the Force will help him. Han's like, that's not how the Force works. It's like now he sort of understands a bit. Obviously, Rey's had those books, which has probably been learning from those Jedi books. Probably been passing on knowledge about the Force and what it is.
Possibly. I mean, my first thought when I heard that was like, whoa, is Finn Force sensitive? And we didn't know. But I don't think it is. I think his actual statement is more of a call to arms for everybody else. Like the Force has brought one together, and now we must do something about it, type of thing.
Yeah, because just because you're not Force sensitive doesn't mean the Force isn't around you. It's in every living thing, if you remember. But I don't think Finn's Force sensitive. He doesn't need to be.
No.
Finn's divine attributes are that he left the First Order, he couldn't do those bad things, and he ended up making a difficult choice to run, and then that ended up making him actually starting to fight against these evil things he couldn't do himself, which is quite a heroic journey, really.
It is. You're right. It is.
And he doesn't need that sort of Force powers type of attribute or Force journey to make his journey any more important or powerful, because it's already very powerful if you break it down that way.
No, and I think that's a strong message that's going to come out of the film. You don't need to be a Jedi to live like a Jedi, if you understand what I mean.
Yep.
Yeah.
So one last thought of me is just about Finn talking over sort of the Rey training montage, talking about how they met and how it was the Force, was just how important them two meeting was. Those two met, and that led to obviously Finn knowing how to go to Starkiller Base to get her back and how to blow up the oscillator, which then led to the demise of Starkiller Base. And so if them two don't come together, maybe this group of Resistance wouldn't be where they are now.
Yeah, I'll go for that.
So their meeting and their friendship is very important to the sequel trilogy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
that was just a lovely little emphasis of it. And lovely dialogue. So straight from there, we go into like sort of a rebel briefing where you see it's probably over 100 pilots, I would say. And it's obviously a wide shot, so you see Poe Dameron, he's talking over at the time. But if you notice, it's Lando Calrissian in front of him.
Right, slap bang in the centre, isn't he?
You can tell because of the yellow and black's like visible.
See him straight away.
Yeah, the fashion sense is there. You can see it a mile away. And in that rebel briefing, he's sort of saying that we're not alone. People will fight if we lead them.
Yeah.
Which obviously at the end of The Last Jedi, obviously the Resistance is shattered. They've got one ship, a handful of crew. And this very much looks like Resistance Reborn.
Resistance Reborn, it looks like a full-on war, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So I think the Resistance is reborn. I think obviously there's a novel coming out called Resistance Reborn. I think it's going to tie into how the found these people.
Yeah.
I don't want to go too far, but I think the as call from The Last Jedi will be answered, just albeit a little bit later.
Yeah, you've always thought that. Yeah.
I've always thought that. I didn't think that people had enough time to actually respond to the call, or to get enough bodies to come and respond to the call in a forceful way, so therefore it didn't. But now is the time they're there.
Yeah.
So I think that is great. And then from there, we dive straight into a sort of Rose, who's now a commander. She's Rose quite high within the Resistance.
Yeah.
Partly because of a lot of officers passing in The Last Jedi, but also because she's been there, she's done the hard tasks, she made the hard choices, she's fought now on the front lines.
Yeah,
she saved Finn's life. So I think she deserves that place. And you see her with first look at Dominic Monaghan.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Did you notice him in the background?
Yeah, as a Resistance trooper by the looks of it. So that looked really, really good. Any thoughts on any of the things we just mentioned?
Not a lot, because that scene really just it's self-explanatory, really. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the call to the arms and let's get ready. You can very much see it's the bridge to move into the next act. You know what I mean? And it looks like it's going to be a proper rousing thing. It's I can just imagine myself in the cinema going, "Yeah, come on, let's go and do it."
It felt like two things to me. That briefing room scene, or briefing hangar in the hangar, but it felt like Rogue One when Jyn Erso was giving her speech.
Yeah.
And it also to me felt like the briefing on Home One, the Mon Cala ship, before the Battle of Endor in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Which was obviously Star Wars' poetry, so it was very cool to feel those vibes here.
I mean, there was a little bit of a Return of the Jedi type feel to the trailer, but only very slightly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it is. I mean, Star Wars is very the way it ebbs and flows in these sort of stanzas, as you will. It is very much poetry.
Yeah,
and it is very subtle. I find. And then going back to the scene of Rose in Donald Mahan's character, it looks like there's sort of something's happening there. There's like blaster bolts going past. There's resistance people, sort of in a hurry. So I don't know if they're being attacked there.
I think this scene is attached to another scene that you see in the trailer. I think that they're very close to each other. You know, there's a bit later on where you see them on horses. I think that's attached to that.
Awesome. Well, we're not going to talk about that just yet.
Yeah.
So when we get to that point, we'll tie it back into this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, we go straight back into sort of Rey doing a speech, where she's saying that everybody thinks they know her. She's like, nobody knows me.
How mental does she look? She looks mad. Eh? Like,
definitely.
You know what I mean? Like, she looked up, she just, like, literally stripped paint off a wall. She looks so angry there, you know?
And then you've got Kylo Ren saying he knows her.
Yeah.
Which, if there's anything that's going to annoy her more, it is that. But I sort of love that speech. It is sort of how, like, everyone sort of, like, on Jakku, they're like, she's a nobody. She's a little junker, little girl with no parents. She's an orphan. Mm-hmm. You had sort of Luke Skywalker, who was sort of treated as someone who needed a teacher, but he wasn't going to teach her.
Yeah.
Sort of made her mind up for her when she jumped straight to the dark. He said you jumped straight in the dark, but she only jumped straight to the dark because she was looking for knowledge, and that knowledge she didn't have. Obviously, you have Snoke, who didn't expect her to be the light who risen, but when she did, he thought it would be an easy pushover to take her down.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was his downfall. I think really, sort of the only person who's sort of not had an opinion about her was Han Solo, in my opinion. He sort of saw what she could do, acknowledged that because he'd seen her do it when she helped fix the ship.
Yeah.
When she bypassed the compressor, saw how much sort of knowledge she had on ships, and I think he saw a bit of himself in her as well. But he doesn't really push her, and he's very much like, we're going to take on a second mate, maybe. So if you want that job, you could have it. Bear in mind, it doesn't pay well. Do you know what I mean? He's not making that sound awesome. But I think he saw something in her, and he's like, no, she could come and work with us, and I'll offer her that. But I'm not like, this is your path to do this. So I think he's the one who met her, who hasn't really thought he knew her, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
he
just took her how she is. You know?
Took her how she is, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which I think is quite telling. I think that's why she has such a bond. It's not the only reason, obviously, but I think one of the reasons why she had such a bond to Ben Solo was that she obviously did, although a brief time with Han, obviously respected him a lot. And obviously Han did respect her a lot. And I think that's a big part of wanting to sort of help his son.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. I think there's a little bit more to the Rey and Kylo thing, to be honest with you. I think the Emperor Palpatine's got a little bit more of a hand in it than, you know.
Maybe. Well, I mean, we're going to go there now. So, the Emperor, there's a voice over the Emperor.
Yeah.
And he's very much saying that Rey and Kylo coming together is their undoing.
Yeah. So he's obviously planned all of this. He's getting something out of it, you know what I mean? What is he getting out of that?
Well, I don't know about planned it, because he's saying they're coming together as their undoing. I think if he planned that, he wouldn't be saying, oh, you've come together. And you think that's good, but it's not. I think he'd be laughing a bit more about that. Obviously, you've only got a little bit of dialogue from him. But
yeah, well, maybe not planned it, but he's been hanging around waiting for it to happen.
I mean, he might have done. He might have planned. I don't know if he's seen them two officially or not, if that makes sense. I don't know if they're just like, he's been hiding there and this is a byproduct. But I just want to talk about his throne.
Yeah, that was supposed to be how the throne was meant to look in the Return of the Jedi, wasn't it?
So basically, yeah. So it died, not meant to look, but there was a Ralph McQuarrie concept art
Yeah.
from 1981, and that was like this throne. It was like that was what it looked like in this design, which obviously they didn't go for. They went for the throne here. One thing I did notice in the shot is that the throne looks like it has the new Sith logo engraved in it. So anybody who was at San Diego Comic Con who got the Sith Trooper exclusive, so there's a logo on that, the new Sith logo, and I think that's engraved on the back of the throne. So that throne, I think that could be. I don't think that throne's on the Death Star because it's actually you see later on you actually see the Death Star throne room and it's like ruined. And
No, I don't think so either.
It his old seats there, but that could be Moraband, the Sith homeworld.
Could be, yeah.
And
Why
if you look
not?
at like the flooring and stuff, it's very similar to the flooring from the last sneak peek when Kylo Ren parks his car and he's walking along with the lightsaber on. It looks like sort of white ice, but it's not ice. It's like white stone.
Yeah.
I think it's similar. I think it's the same place.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. Yeah, I really do think the same thing. There's a lot of references. There's a lot of ice, actually.
Well, I don't even know if it's ice. It could be like ash. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to tell in those shots. So like Moraband, obviously, when we see it in Star Wars Rebels, is like it's like something bad's happening there because there's like bodies turned to stone, almost like Pompeii.
Yeah.
So again, this could be just the way it's lit makes it look sort of more white than it is, but it could be ash. So I've got I'm not saying I'm certain because I'm not, but I think that could be Moraband. Which if we see Moraband in this final movie, that's going to blow minds.
I think they're going to try and pack as much into this film to blow everybody's minds as they possibly can. I really do get a good, strong feeling that they're going to try to please everybody.
It's not just please everybody as well. Like things have to make sense. You can't just like jam things in for no reason. But I think like that throne looks grand and also old. Mm-hmm. So like maybe that is like the Sith throne that's been there for centuries, and obviously Palpatine didn't have it because he ruled in the secret the galaxy. No one knew he was a Sith Lord. He ruled as a Supreme Chancellor and an Emperor. Yeah. But maybe that's where he's been hiding, or Moraband maybe. I mean, he does ask that question. I always thought the Emperor would be coming back as a ghost once we heard his laugh and celebration. Mm-hmm. We sort of see down the line a hooded figure. Obviously, sitting in the throne. It could still be a ghost, but didn't look quite like a ghost. But Sith ghosts could be different. Do you think this is a full-bodied Emperor, or do you think it's more of a mirage or a ghost?
Honest opinion, I really think it's a full-bodied Emperor, but I really got a feeling he's like a poor quality of himself type of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like he can't move, and he's like tied up to this to help him move, a little bit Darth Vader-ish type of thing.
And also maybe a little bit like, do you know how like in Harry Potter where Voldemort can't come fully back?
Yeah, that kind of thing. I was thinking, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, no, that's a really cool idea. I don't want to say I'm against it, but I think if it's like a clone of the Emperor with his brain, with his spirit in it, to me that sounds a bit. We've not really experienced that in Star Wars before, so for me, they'd have to explain that in such a good way for me to get down with that.
Yeah, I mean,
but if you're gonna tell me it's like a shriveled entity of himself, I can totally believe that.
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be. I really do think, whether it's Moraband or whether it's another world or something like that, he's definitely survived the Death Star, and he's went to one of his contingency plans that he's had, and he's hid on this home world and made these Sith troopers and all the rest of it, and just hung around there waiting for an opportunity to come back, and Rey and Kylo were offering him that opportunity. I really do think he's a poor shadow of himself type of thing,
Yeah, because I mean, before today, and I saw the trailer, I thought that they'd encounter the Emperor at the Death Star ruins.
So did I.
But I think
So
this,
did I.
but I think this trailer shows that they're in the Death Star, they're in the throne room even, and like doesn't know he's there.
Yeah.
And then where surely where he is doesn't look like it. So
Yeah. But
I
how
think,
cool does that look?
yeah, that's going to be awesome. So I think maybe that could be in the middle of the film.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
duel, which everyone thinks will be the end of the movie, that could be like the midpoint of the movie where they're there fighting, and that's when they maybe sort of could team up. But I'm going to talk more about that later. So I'm going to try and get back on track because I've muddled that up a bit. So obviously talking about Palpatine, the Sith throne,
Yeah.
they're undoing. So we then go to the TIEs flying past the camera towards a sort of cloud.
Yeah. At first,
And
I thought it was a big iceberg,
well,
but it's not.
it's like an iceberg, it's like a cloud. First, I thought it was mirrored, maybe, but it's not mirrored. If
It's
you notice,
not. It
it's not
doesn't match on the
symmetrical.
bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not symmetrical. So, like, what is that? It looks really awesome,
But
really
if you
powerful.
but if you look on the left-hand side of it, there's a load of dotted little lights. I really think this is some kind of thing that's floating in space, and I think that's where Emperor Palpatine is.
Oh, maybe. So maybe he's shrouded in that sort of misty ice, whatever that
Yeah,
is in
I
space.
think this is where he's held up. You know.
Cool. No, I dig that. That's really awesome. So yeah, going from there, we then see the Resistance fleet. And is it a fleet? Wow, it looks huge. When you consider the last time you seen it was just the Millennium Falcon on its own. I love it. It just said to me, Return of the Jedi, and the way the Falcon swooped down, I could imagine Lando going, go lead All Wings reporting.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
We've got just about every single starship in the galaxy.
Well, I know it's two big cruisers that look like Mon Cala.
Yeah, there were.
So obviously we know in the comics that Leia goes to Mon Cala to try and recruit ships, and they're not happy with that because obviously Akbar's died. But my big theory is that I really want Radis to come out of retirement, if he is alive, to come and avenge Akbar.
There's a lot of people starting to say that, you know. That'd be pretty cool.
I would love it if it's Admiral Radis and he's commanding one of those Mon Cala cruisers.
Yeah.
Did you notice any other ships apart from the Mon Cala cruisers and the Falcon?
The first thing I noticed before I even noticed the Falcon was the Ghost.
Yes, that is bloody brilliant. I think that's definitely the Ghost.
And I'm really
it might not be, but I really think it is.
I think beyond a shadow of a doubt that is the Ghost. And I've really got my fingers crossed. Not that I think I'm going to get it, because I really don't think I do. But I would love to see a real life, Hera Syndulla. I would love to see that. Even if it's just 2 seconds on the screen.
Definitely, it would be awesome. And don't forget, a co-pilot could be Jason Syndulla.
Could be, yeah.
Because obviously we haven't seen him. We know he's around from the Inner Rebels. So that was absolutely awesome. I love that. And I think I think we're going to see it.
And I think this is what I was saying earlier on about pulling out all the stops to please everybody. It's going to be in moments like this, you know?
Yeah, and it's not just to please people. It makes sense. Like, Hera's been in the fight her whole life.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So ever since she was oppressed on Ryloth.
Mm-hmm.
So it would make sense for her to answer the call now.
Yeah.
Did you spot the Colossus, perhaps? I'm not saying it is the Colossus, but it's very similar looking on the right-hand side of the screen.
I did, but I was very dubious that it was. But then again, I've got a feeling, you know what I mean? Like I've just said, it would look like every single ship in the galaxy is in that scene. So I wouldn't be surprised not to see the Colossus. I was really looking for the Outrider, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah. So, I'm a bit dubious as well about it being the Colossus. And the hype in me just goes like, oh, I hope it is. And I'm smiling right now talking about it. I hope if the Colossus survives just in season 2, I really do hope we get to see it. It would be absolutely awesome.
But why wouldn't it be? Because
exactly.
They're getting the second season to tie in with the last film, aren't they? So
so it would make perfect sense.
Perfect sense.
And that would be awesome. And one other ship I thought I noticed, which I'm probably even more dubious of than the Colossus, is I thought I spotted what looked like the Razor Crest, which is the Mandalorian ship from the new TV show.
Yeah, I did as well. Because it was definitely that type of ship, but modified.
Yeah, so obviously this will be set like maybe 20 to 30 years after the Mandalorian season 1, I think, roughly. So that ship, I don't know how old the Mandalorian would be if he survives that show. So I don't know how old he is in the show, but if say if he's 30, you're probably looking at a 6-year-old Mandalorian if he's piloting that ship, if it is his ship. But I mean, again, like they've set it up where I think a lot of the episodes leaked, like when they're going to air for the Mandalorian, and like it's going to be the finale's going to be like around the 27th of the month.
Yeah.
So if it's going to, I mean, there's a second season, so I don't think it would tie totally in, but we've got possibilities there to sort of tie even that in to this movie.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of years of storytelling for the Mandalorian, you know, to get to that point. But I mean, why not? You know what I mean? You know,
Yeah,
offer him enough money, he'll do it.
definitely. So I think then from that point, I mean, just to go, the Mandalorian, I think like, he's going to have, although he seems like he's after the money, I think we're going to see him have like, we don't know his backstory, we're going to learn that as we go through.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see him have like a moral standing that makes him more than just a bounty hunter, if that makes sense.
Well, he kind of has to, otherwise I think you'd get bored of the character after a while, you know? Yeah.
Yep. Moving on from that, we've got like a sort of a water ski speeder, which when I first saw it, I thought it was one of those skiffs from Last Jedi on Crate.
Yeah, that was my first thought, and then I looked at it again and I thought, is that the what's the name of that ship from the Fireball? You know
Possibly,
what I mean?
yeah.
And I actually
as
had
well.
to go and look up the Fireball, and it's not the Fireball, but it's very similar to it.
It's very similar, yeah. So maybe it's based on like an old type of ship like that, but just a skiff put on there in a bit. But the sort of looks like they're jetting off towards the Death Star. So it actually looks like Rey goes to the Death Star, Kylo goes to the Death Star, they fight,
and then Finn chases after him.
But it looks like at least Finn's on the Death Star later on as well.
Yeah.
So it's all quite coming together. If that's the midpoint in the movie, it's mind blowing, isn't it? The possibilities, the things that could happen there.
It's setting itself up really nicely.
Yeah. And then from there, we're going to talk about probably my favourite part of the trailer that like pretty much made us well up, nearly cry, is when you see C-3PO being operated on by, I can't remember his name now, I think it's
Babu Frick.
Babu Frick, that's the one.
Yeah.
You know, I learned his name last episode when I was on with Brian, and then I still couldn't remember how to say it. I knew it would start with a B, and I knew the last one started with an F.
I think it's because there's the other new character, Bulio, as well, and we didn't actually get to see Bulio, but
yeah,
you know what I mean?
And you've got like Boba Fett as well, who sounds similar. So there's like
a
lot of similar names. But so yeah, so what's he called?
Babu Frick.
So Babu Frick's operating on C-3PO.
Yeah.
And Poe asks them what's up. You hear some sad beeps from the two DO and BB-8, and then C-3PO says, I was having one last look.
Wasn't it a sad little moment?
At my friends, which and not only is it awesome, C-3PO never really shows like how much he cares.
No.
But I think this could make, I mean, I don't know what Babu Frick's doing to him, but it must be something important. Maybe he's turning into a weapon or a bomb, maybe, on my two thoughts. And for C-3PO to be saying like goodbye like that is quite like,
yeah, he doesn't think he's coming back. You know
sort of hinting that last time, but it's also a metaphor for us as fans. This is our last look at our heroes, our last like the movie, the Rise of Skywalker, is the end of the saga, and this is our last look at them.
Yeah, and I'm also thinking Anthony Daniels is that kind of person you'd want to say goodbye. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I mean, I don't think he wrote that line, but
I don't think he wrote it, but I think he asked for it.
Maybe.
You know.
I mean, I've got Academy Award winning writer Chris Terrio on the project with JJ on writing duties.
Yeah.
But I thought it was beautiful to see C-3PO show that kind of emotion at the end there, because he does love everyone. He just pretends not to show it. It's always showing how much he cares, because he does. He never, do you know what I mean? He never really leaves.
Yeah.
Even when he leaves R2 at A New Hope, when he finds him again inside the Sandcrawler, he couldn't be happier.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
He's like, R2-D2, it is you. Like, he's absolutely buzzing to have him back. So even though he acts like he doesn't care, he's always cared. Yeah. And then here he finally tells everybody how much he cares. One last look at his friends. So that was sort of very emotional, that was. Not just for that, but also for the metaphor of it's our last look as a people, really, at this story. The story's ending. Obviously, we'll always have the story to go back and revisit, but the story will be over.
It's such a funny feeling because, yes, the story is over, but there's so many other things coming. You know what I mean? That it's kind of like, I don't need to feel so sad about it. You know?
Yeah. No, definitely. at this point, sort of the music changes to sort of like an awesome, it's like the Force theme, but
Yeah.
it sounds even more like emotional and like finale-ish, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And then while that's playing, which is like awesome and also pulls on your heartstrings, it was making me feel really emotional as well. Feeling almost, I wasn't sad because I'm buzzing about this trailer, but emotionally drained, I would say, is what this music did. You then see the corridor scene where the camera's panning back and it's Chewbacca, Poe, and Finn running down the corridor shooting. And as the camera's pulling away, you can see the troopers falling.
So reminiscent of A New Hope.
Yeah, and it just looked awesome.
Didn't it?
Yeah, and you get to see Chewie run roughshod with the co-caster again.
Yeah.
Was awesome with his two friends. That looked awesome. It's going to. I think it's filmed. It's going to be very emotional and heartfelt and deep. It's also going to be full of action by the looks of it because that's a big action sequence there.
Yeah.
And this is going to be action sequence on the Death Star we've just mentioned as well. And that's not even before the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely crazy. We then get a line from Luke, which I find extremely powerful, and this is the Luke, Jedi Master Luke, who's no longer. So I'm going to say depressed, and I don't mean that in a bad way. So I really loved The Last Jedi. One of the reasons was I really connected with Luke Skywalker because he is essentially going through depression, and who wouldn't after what happened? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't mention the fact that, yeah, he went through all that, but nobody ever says he found himself at the end of the film. Do you know what I mean? He found who he was again at the end of the film, you know?
He did, yeah, he did. Because people don't realise that, like, when in The Last Jedi, when he reaches out to Leia, that's when he goes back to use the Force for the first time, dials back in, and he senses her, and then he goes to find Rey. He's packed up to join the fight. He's going to join her on the fight, and that's referenced in the novelization, which is canon.
Yeah.
And obviously he sees Rey touching Kylo's hand, and that derails that. But he was come back to the fight at that point. So he made his mind up there. And then he does end up being the spark of hope at the end of The Last Jedi. So this line here, I'm just going to say the line. It is confronting fear is the destiny of the Jedi. And he's talking like he's a Jedi Master, and just that line is perfect. Like that is the destiny of the Jedi, confronting fear, because fear can like lead so many people making so many mistakes and making so many horrific errors, and bad people make people fear them.
You know, as Yoda said, fear leads to hate, hate leads to suffering.
Yeah, but the problem that one of the big problems with the Jedi in the prequels is that they fail because they get involved in that war. And as soon as they get involved in that war, even though they're fighting on the good side, even though they don't know it's the good side or the bad side, is that like they shouldn't be involved in wars.
Yeah, but I mean,
that makes sense.
It does. But the war was meant to fail in the prequels, though. You know what I mean?
But by being in the war, like they cause fear themselves on other people. No, not on purposely, but they did. And this is Luke going back to sort of, and Qui-Gon knew that. Do you know what I mean? Qui-Gon knew that the Jedi were going down. They weren't being evil, but they were going down the wrong path. And they were setting themselves up for their own failures, which happened. And this line from Luke shows that he knows that, he understands that, and he knows the Jedi fought in the past, but he knows that the core belief of the Jedi is this.
Yeah.
And if we do this, like, we can make a difference in the galaxy. And he's telling that to Rey. He's telling that to us, the audience. He is Jedi Master Luke Skywalker.
That's quite deep, dude.
No, really, and that's what I got from that one line. I just thought, and the way his voice, Mark Hamill's voice, when he delivers that line as well, is like, it sounds almost like a teacher, a hopeful teacher. He's a very good voice artist, as we know, but the way he delivers that line is, it's full of hope, and it's full of wisdom, and it's full of like certainty.
Yeah.
Which is things when he was delivering his lines, when he was in his depressed frame of mind on Acto in Last Jedi, he didn't deliver it that way. He delivered it in a sort of a questionable,
almost contemptuous way. Yeah.
I'm saying these things because I don't like myself, and I don't like the things I've done in the past. I don't like the way the Jedi did things in the past, and it's caused so many of these things to happen. So I'm going to say these things about it, these negative things, but do I actually really believe them? Probably not. And then the way he says this one, like, it sounds so credible, sounds so assertive. Confronting fear is the destiny of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And then he tells Rey it's her destiny.
Yeah.
So that was my thoughts on that. Have you got any thoughts?
I just thought it was a cool line.
It is, yeah. It's so cool, man.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like everything that you said. You know what I mean? I just took away from it. It just sounded like Luke's back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's been there, he's seen that, he's got the T-shirt, and now he has the tea towel that teaches the other way.
Definitely. I've just realised we've missed out one little thing. While Palpatine's talking and his throne and all that stuff, you see sort of Imperial Star Destroyers come out of the ground.
And then, are they coming out of the ground? Or are they coming out of ice?
Maybe. So my first thoughts was it looks like sort of rock and rubble, but it could be ice. Maybe they're in that cloud or that ice or whatever that is.
Because when you see the red beam blowing something up on the D23 trailer, I just wonder if that red beam is actually melting that whole big ice thing that we've already seen. And that's where they're not the Death Stars, where the Star Destroyers are. And it's melting that off enough that they're actually rising up. And that's why you're seeing water there. You know what I mean?
That's such a cool idea. I mean, it could be that it's breaking the rock up as well, because I thought it was rock. So it could be breaking the rock up so they can break free. Because, I mean, if you try to throw a Star Destroyer through a rock, I'm guessing the rock would win.
Yeah, I reckon so, yeah.
So that was really powerful imagery, showing you what perhaps these have been lurking, hiding.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I was meant to talk about that earlier.
No,
you should see me notes for this. It's all over. Yeah. So then we're going to go with. We see a Y-wing flying towards a Star Destroyer.
How cool is that?
And it owns 2 ties on its way in, like destroys them.
That's got to be Zori Bliss. Has to be.
Zori Bliss, or it could be Poe Dameron.
Could be, yeah.
Or it could be another member of Black Squadron, maybe. I don't know how many have actually survived, but I think based on the Lego sets, it looks like Snap's flying an A-wing, so it's not him.
Yeah. That's the Lego sets that makes us think it's Zori Bliss.
Speaking of Snap Wexley, obviously Tenor Wexley, just remind us of one thing I didn't write down. In that scene with C-3PO, did you notice the battle droid in the background?
Yeah, I did. So cool.
So, is it a battle droid, or could it be Mr. Bones from the Aftermath novels? Obviously, Temin's buddy, Snap Wexley's buddy.
I would love it to be. I don't think so, because he just got blown to smithereens, didn't he? But I would love it to be.
But he got blown to smithereens, but I'm pretty sure that it's in the book. Snap has his brain, or his programming on it like a chip.
Yeah.
So you could reprogram it into anything.
All right. Cool.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know if it would do such a blatant nod to a book that people might not have read, but it certainly begs the question. I mean, I just love the fact they've got some prequels in there.
Yeah.
I love me some prequels. Prequels are awesome. So I just think battle droid in the background, even that's just that Babu Frink's he obviously just makes things out of stuff, doesn't he? So
yeah, it's
just
very definitely a little Junkers area. I mean,
yeah,
it kind of reminded us of the basement of Jabba the Hutt's palace, actually. Babu Frick's place,
definitely, droids everywhere.
Yeah, and the way the gates were at the back. If you notice, the gates at the back, they were very Jabba the Hutt palace styled.
Yeah, no, definitely. Say that signature style of Star Wars where everything subtly sort of ties in together.
Yeah,
it's lovely. So going from there, I'm going to talk about. I can't remember where this came in the trailer, but I think it came around now. Rey and Kylo are in Kylo's masked, by the way, in this scene. Rey and Kylo's masked. They're in a white room, which doesn't look like any First Order ship. The design's First Order or Imperial aesthetic, but it's all white instead of black or grey. And you see them smash. It looks like the Vader mask.
I thought it was a statue.
So I think it's either a statue or it's like a pedestal with the helmet on top. If that makes sense.
Now it's funny that you say that, because if you look at it again and you look in the background directly behind center screen, directly behind where they do that, you'll see like a jagged unit type thing, and it looks exactly like Darth Vader's his chamber thing.
His chamber from the house back.
But instead of being black, this is pure white. You know
All
what
right.
I mean? But it looks exactly the same. I'm not saying that what comes up and down, but yeah, that jaggedness, it's exactly the same as Vader's chamber.
Yeah. Did you notice what Rey's holding in that footage?
I noticed the knife.
So it's just holding a dagger, which I'm not saying it is, but anybody who's watched the Mortis saga in Clone Wars, there's obviously the dagger of Mortis,
Uh-huh.
and it could be referenced to that.
Yeah, I think that dagger is quite significant. It has to be.
I mean, one thing I'm definitely going to do, and I recommend anybody else to do. I mean, watchers say this and it won't pay off at all, but I think like before I watch this movie in December, I'm going to be rewatching the Mortis saga from Clone Wars,
Uh-huh.
and I'm going to be rewatching the World Between Worlds from Star Wars Rebels, because all the Force lore in there. I think some of this is going to pay off in this movie. I really
Yeah,
do.
I think so too. Yeah, and there's another little wish I've got. Now that Ahsoka knows how to use the World Between Worlds kind of thing, and she can dart between here, there, and everywhere, wouldn't this be a perfect time for her to show up?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know how much she darts between, because one of the lessons that Ezra learns is that you can't just go in and obviously he changes Ahsoka's future because he saves her. Vader's about to kill her.
Mm-hmm.
Vader kills her in that scene and he pulls her out.
Yeah.
But then when he sees Kanan's death, if he'd have pulled Kanan out,
It would have changed everything. Yeah.
well, the fire would have killed them in the ship when they were escaping. So like he learns that you can't just go around changing people's moments, because it'll have an effect, and Kanan made that sacrifice so they could live on.
Yeah, still be
make
cool.
a difference.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we might see World War II as a reference, but I don't think we'll see Ahsoka going like in and out of things so willy-nilly. But I mean, do we see Ahsoka in this movie? I don't know if they're keeping it very under wraps at the minute. Still, if they are, it would be awesome to see it tied in.
I would love to. I don't think so, but I would love to. You know, I don't think so though.
I mean, again, I want to rewatch it, because again, they had to like align those hands to get in to that temple to sort of get there. But I don't know if you had enough training, if you can just access it anywhere where you are, if that makes sense. Because obviously when Ezra's talking to Yoda in the second season, I believe, might be the first season actually, it's never said then, but that is the World Between Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't know it is that yet, and Ezra doesn't know it's that yet.
Definitely worth a rewatch then.
I think definitely worth the Mortis trilogy. I don't know if it's 3 or 4 episodes, but whatever, how many episodes that arc is, definitely watch the Mortis arc, and I'm definitely going to rewatch, like I said, the World Between Worlds episodes of Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah,
because I think they really could tie in, so just have it fresh in my mind. Moving on from there, got sort of that speeder chase, and on that speeder, which looks like sort of, it's reminiscent of sort of a skiff from Jabba's palace, but it's sort of similar but not.
Yeah.
You see sort of someone activate one of those bombs and throw it up. Them things I was calling like a flower or pollen bomb on the last episode.
Yeah.
So maybe that's designed to like, so people can't see when they come through it.
I think that's what it's about. Yeah. It doesn't look like it's, designed to maim or kill anybody, but I think that's exactly what it is, Turn everybody yellow.
Oh, definitely. So from there, we then have the space horses charging. Those space horses we saw in the
How
in the
cool does that look? On top of the friggin'... I'm sure that they are on top of the Star Destroyer. I did see that right.
They're either on top of the Star Destroyer, like inside a hangar, but they're on something mechanical, and they're not on a planet.
I'm sure they're on top of the Star Destroyer as the Star Destroyer's rising up. I'm sure they are.
Maybe
I could be wrong.
Awesome.
I might have watched it wrong. I might have just saw it like that the first time and thought that's really cool, and my mind's just locked in on that. But
I definitely thought something similar, like something's going on there where they're definitely not on ground. So I was straight like, what are they doing? Are they in a hangar, or they're on the? But it's actually on the surface, like on the outside shell of the Star Destroyer, like the hull. That would be awesome.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking. How Rosa's scene ties in, because it looks like they're in like a port type of thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then it looks like they're all ready to go off and do the charge of the Light Brigade, like what they're doing on top of the. I'm still going to say it, on top of the Star Destroyer.
Yeah, say it, that's fine. Did you notice BB-8 keeping up with the horses?
Yeah.
So two things I've seen that I love is that BB-8's keeping up and leading the charge in the fight. That's brilliant. We're going to see him own some troopers. And also, if BB-8's there, then I said this last episode, and I'm standing to it. I hope that R2D2 is inside is piloting Poe's ship with Poe.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the droid who helped destroy the first freaking Death Star.
I mean, he's been pivotal in every kind of fight like that, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
why
He's going
not?
to get his moment again, yeah.
Yeah.
So I really hope that's what that means.
He has to. You can't. I mean, there's been some really awesome robots come in. You know what I mean? There's some droids come in. That really has. But you can't sideline R2D2 for too long the way they have. You know?
Definitely not. So I think they're going to right that wrong here. I think you're going to see him. He's going to be a big part of it.
Yeah.
So from there, we're going to sort of, it shows you, the throne room on the Death Star 2. You see Rey and Kylo standing there.
Such an awesome scene.
Awesome scene, yeah, with no Emperor. He's not there.
But they're not fighting. Do you notice that?
Not fighting yet, but Rey, I think, is it Rey's saber's turned on? Am I right? I think Rey's saber's turned on. Kylo's isn't at the time. But yeah, and then from there, then you come to the new throne room. You see that new mega throne, and Rey standing there again. And then you see like the camera's like behind Palpatine's hood, so it's hard. It's obviously Palpatine, but they're trying to keep like how he looks. Is he entity? Is he ghost? Is he full bodied? We don't know. We'll find out in the movie, which I'm glad they did because I want to find out in the movie. I don't want to know in the trailer.
Yeah, same. Yeah,
but it's very much of like, so they must go that they go to that old throne room for a reason. Don't find out what they're looking for, and then maybe that's when they go looking for this new throne room, perhaps.
I think they do find what they're looking for, so they're able to actually take Palpatine down once and for all. You know?
Yeah.
That's what I think. You know, Palpatine, the guy who, you know, made to believe that only one of the Sith Lord has defied death type of thing, you know. It's pretty obvious he's found his own solution, you know. Again, Harry Potter references, but you got to get rid of the Horcruxes before you get rid of the dude.
Yeah, and you've got to think as well, obviously, like in Star Wars Rebels, you see Palpatine like trying to get into that world between worlds.
Yeah.
So maybe there's some secrets there.
Maybe.
That ties it down to the end of the trailer, sort of Rey's face. And we hear Luke say, "May the Force be with you," and we hear Leia say, "Always."
I know. I'm even welling up for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really emotional, like proper emotionally drained, and like in a good way. But it's just like, here's your two Skywalkers.
Yeah.
Anakin's children telling Rey the Force be with her always in a fight against Palpatine, the man who ruined it all for Anakin Skywalker.
It just shows you that it's being looked after. Like, whether you like the way the story goes, whether you don't like the way the story goes, you can't deny that whoever JJ is and whoever else is involved is looking after the film and looking after the franchise and looking after the story, you know, like really well.
Well, yeah, it's not just JJ, obviously, but like the story group. I mean, I just want to address this. I know it's a part of the trailer, but like Pablo Hidalgo was on on Twitter has, I think he's pretty much blocked everybody he doesn't know personally.
Yeah.
And it's caused a bit of thinking, why he's blocked me? And it's like, well, he was getting that much. And I'm not saying everybody was sending him hateful messages, but all it takes is like a select few people.
It takes one hate message out of 100 good ones.
No, it's not just that. I'm saying there's those horrible people, and there's not many of them, but they're very loud. And if they're sending like 10 tweets an hour to him, like that can only be that can't be good for anybody's mind. I wouldn't like it. If someone sent me 10 negative tweets in an hour, calling me all kinds of names, I would feel really upset.
Yeah.
So I think maybe he's just had enough of that, and he's blocked everybody he doesn't know, which it's not all right to be able to access his tweets. Yeah. So I just want to say, I know I didn't want to bring this up, but obviously we'll mention the story group and sort of has, but like he's blocked everyone account who was following him, and that's his right. It's his account. He hasn't done it out of malice. I think he's done it to protect himself, and I respect that decision. I think it's awesome, and I hope he's well. And I love everything the story group have done. As you were just saying, they've managed this. You know, if you like you don't, you can't say the story hasn't been like guided in certain directions. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I just want to tip my hat to the whole story group. Thank you very much for being awesome and for guiding me in this new direction while keeping all the core values of Star Wars alive.
You can very much say they've done their best. You know?
Yeah, and like I said, like long may it continue. It's awesome. Have you got any other thoughts on the trailer, Alan?
Yeah, actually, I can answer a question you asked us a couple of years ago. Do you remember after the end of The Last Jedi, and you asked me, what do you think of The Last Jedi? And I said to you, I don't know. And I'm going to wait until I see the next film before I decide what I think about The Last Jedi. Well, after seeing, because my thought was, I don't know what I was watching, whether I was watching stuff that I needed to watch in order to enjoy the next film better. You know, a little bit like The Hunger Games. You've got to read the second book to enjoy the third book. But the second book, out, in my humble opinion, is not that good. But now that I've seen a few trailers, and now I've definitely seen this trailer, I can really appreciate that you needed to see The Last Jedi the way it was written to enjoy the rise of the Skywalker the way you're going to do it. So in answer to your question, yes, I really love The Last Jedi.
Awesome. I love that movie too. Was it a surprise movie? It did surprise me. It shocked me to my core, but in a good way.
And do you know what it was? And this is a really funny thing, but I know I mentioned a couple of podcasts ago when I first got into Star Wars, I watched the first two films and then I was waiting for the Return of the Jedi. That's when I got in, you know? So if you think of the end of The Empire Strikes Back, you know, Luke's just lost his hand, everybody's lost. Han Solo's, then, you know, the Millennium Falcon's darted off somewhere, everything's like, where's the hope gone? And you really got that at the end of The Last Jedi, and I never actually really realized the link until I saw this trailer, and I was just like, oh yeah, they've just done it to us again. Okay.
Yeah, it's storytelling 101. Darker middle chapter. You've got to have that darker middle chapter to have your heroes come back from something in the final chapter.
Yeah, but I think
to have the stakes are high because of what happened in that movie.
But they did it with a sledgehammer. You know what I mean? It's like I say, it's I can see I enjoy that from now. You know, I mean, not that I didn't enjoy it, if you know what I mean, but I understand it a lot more now. You know?
Yeah. Oh, awesome. So, have you got any more points about the trailer you want to make?
Not really. Apart from the Tantive, I'm sure it's a Tantive 4. You know,
I forgot to mention that as well.
Yeah.
That's in my notes as well. I'm looking at it. So in that bit on Endor, you see, I don't know if it's a Tantive 4 now, but it's definitely a Rebel blockade runner.
Yeah.
And you see it. So when Peter was talking about people will fight if we lead them to, and you see that type of ship, which again goes back to sort of A New Hope.
Yeah.
So like, is it the Tantive 4? What happened to that ship after it got captured? I don't know.
Exactly, because it's not like the Star Destroyer got blown up or anything.
Yeah, but who's to say? Obviously, there's more of that type of ship as well. So who's to say Leia hasn't got more of them?
True, very true.
But it was really cool to see, and again, it harkens back to the original trilogy.
It just looked awesome coming across the trees. I was just wondering whether it was landing or taking off. You know,
definitely. I think we're definitely going to see it in that fleet scene. So we part of that fleet.
Yeah, but you also see a blockade runner with the blue on it as well. You know, in that big scene of ships.
Yeah, was that am I wrong in thinking that? I thought I saw the Hammerhead Corvette from.
Yeah, there was Hammerhead there. Yeah,
the one from Rogue One that's in Rebels. So that'd be cool if we see that there as well. Like, sort of like all these old ships have like answered the call, like for this one last fight.
I think that's definitely what it is. You know what I mean? Like I say, I couldn't find the Outrider in there, but I'm still going to go looking for it. You know, I've got a feeling it's in there somewhere.
Could very well be. I think you could analyse that for the next 3 hours and find new ships that you hadn't seen the first time.
I wouldn't be surprised if I don't find the Starship Enterprise in there, man.
I hope not. But so like all these ships come together. I think that ties up our trailer. Again, I was to say the trailer was it was fun, it was exciting, it was awesome. And like I said, when that Force theme kicked in, sort of the finale version of it, it just drove like my emotions like sky high. I was really feeling the emotion of it, the adrenaline, feeling the deepness of the story, how it's coming to an end, how much I love the story. I thought the trailer fully encapsulated like my love of Star Wars, like how fun I find it, how exciting I find it, how deep I find it, and how emotional I find it was all encaptured in this trailer, which is great considering this is the final trailer for the final chapter of the Skywalker saga.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be very, very happy with this film. You know,
definitely. You'll have to come up. We'll have to watch it when you come up at Christmas.
Yeah, got to be.
For those who don't know, obviously Alan is a Geordie, but he lives in London down south, and I'm a Geordie who still lives up north.
Yeah.
But hopefully, going to try and catch this film together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
So I think, like, breaking from the trailers before we end the show, I just want to speak about. I just want to get this off my chest, and it's about how like Star Wars is handled in the UK, particularly.
Right.
So, I mean, like, Force Friday in the UK was an absolute like horror show in actual stores. Like, I took a day off work, hit up the Disney store, the UK Disney store. Had very limited new Rise of Skywalker merchandise. Had no events on. I went to the desk. I asked if I had anything going on. Was there any posters, any pins being given away, any badges, anything like that? Absolutely nothing. And that's probably the second Force Friday in a row that's happened. Other toy stores didn't have any of the Hasbro merchandise in yet.
Mm-hmm.
The Lego store was the only saving grace. They had everything in. They were giving freebies out. You could go in and build like little minifigures.
Cool.
So the Lego store in the UK was absolutely awesome. But I just think the Disney store was so shocking, and these other toy stores were so shocking. Like my haul came online where I managed to get like the figures I wanted online and pre-ordered.
Yeah.
But I saw like obviously I have a lot of friends in America. I follow a lot of people in America. What they were going through, and it was like totally different. They were like really finding everything. And I just think like if they did things right in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Like they would make so much more money and just make like so many more fans happier. But, like that day for me, like apart from buying a T-shirt in the Disney store, which was a really cool T-shirt.
Yeah.
But other than that, my actual time in the stores wasn't very productive and was very frustrating.
Yeah.
I managed to find 2 figures online, which was awesome. Got them online, but again, I wanted to go and enjoy my day out and about. Then it brings us. I sort of got over that, but then sort of today. Obviously, like the trailer drops Monday Night Football. I understand the reasons for that. Obviously, like Disney owns has an investment sort of in that Monday Night Football spot, so they put the trailer there because it drives increased volume of people to watch that show on one of their networks. So like we got it at 3:30. Then like UK cinemas being like really blasé. Oh, tickets go on sale on Tuesday, but I don't know what time. So like I got up at 6 to watch the trailer. And then was like sort of refreshing my phone on the apps to sort of wait for the film times to go live.
Yeah.
Not knowing when they were going to go live, but assume it would be like some point before like work starts.
Yeah.
Or at least if it was going to be a certain time, the cinema chains, and it was all of them. I'm not going to name any. It was all of them. Mm-hmm. All the main chains. Would say, oh, well, just so you know, they're going to go on sale this time, but they didn't. They would pretend it was all hush-hush. I'm like, it's not hush-hush, because if you give them time, we'll all come and spend the money on the tickets. Again, like, put the product in front of your audience, they will buy it. The same as that Disney store, and the same as these toy stores on Force Friday. Put the product in front of your audience, and they will buy it.
Yeah.
But if I'm turning up and the product's not there, then I can't access it, so therefore I'm not going to buy it.
Yeah.
So the tickets went live around 9 a.m., which I was at work. I managed to purchase some tickets. But like, do you know what I mean? If they put them online around 6, 7, I could have bagged those before I went to work, and it would have been like out of my mind. If that makes sense. And because people didn't know when tickets were going on, like in America, the trailer hit right, and then the tickets went on sale.
Yeah, and when you Googled it, you know what I mean. You were very much hitting American news where it was saying the tickets were available, and you know you really had to like specific Google it and say ticket release UK. You know what I mean.
So I spent like 3 hours refreshing, trying to find times, finding family times at work. Luckily, I'm in a situation at work where I can buy those tickets.
Yeah.
But like other people aren't. So you had people who were trying to buy them before work, then couldn't, then probably don't buy them until tonight. And like people are probably going in the UK like, oh, like ticket sales aren't that good. Well, it's like, well, if you put them online early enough, there would be, because people would have bought them. So I just think, I don't know, like, who's in charge, things like that. But again, like, I think the UK suffers from the Star Wars product doesn't get put in front of us enough. If that makes sense.
It's always been like that, though, people. It's
It
always
has,
been
but,
like that.
but I think in the world of the World Wide Web now, where like in social media, where everything, the world's never been a smaller place. The world's never been a small place. Like these things need to be rectified, because I mean, we're going to talk about Disney Plus now again. Like, that product's not being put in front of the UK audience, so we are not getting the Mandalorian. So say if you work in the media here, or you run a podcast here or a blog here, and you are going to be reviewing the Mandalorian, and you then can't do that unless you go about streaming it illegally, essentially, and it's sort of forcing people's hands. And again, I just think that I think Disney and Lucasfilm could do a lot better job of putting a Star Wars product in front of its UK fans.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. You know, I'm totally with you on that. You know, I mean, the tickets, I mean, I've managed to find out at 8 o'clock that the tickets weren't available till 9 o'clock, but even then, it's not that I was expecting the tickets to come out, 6 o'clock in the morning, but I wasn't still like, okay, well, when are they coming out type of thing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if it's at 9 o'clock and people at work went, oh, I'll take my break early, I'll go at 9 and book the tickets. But it was like, you had to keep refreshing, and all of a sudden it was like, they sent you a message saying, oh, they are live now. And it's like, well, I haven't got my phone, I was at work, don't have access to that information. So I just think it could all be done a lot better. And like I said, it wasn't as if it was one cinema chain, it was like all of them. So to me, it comes down to, again, Disney Lucasfilm struggling to put that Star Wars product in front of its UK fans in a timely manner and in a constructive way.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been like that, though, Pete. I mean, when you look at it over the years, I mean, you think, oh, yeah, cool Star Wars. But then you look across the pond to America and what they're doing at the same time, and it's, like, for lack of better words, it's like poor relation, you know?
And that's not me having to go. Don't think I'm having to go in America, because like I love America. I love America.
Oh God, no.
And I'm really glad. I'm really glad all those American Star Wars fans got to experience that. But it just would have been great if we could have experienced it as well with them.
As well as, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Because when you get across the pond with them, you make friends, and you know what I mean. They feel bad for you that you don't get what they're getting as well as, you know what I mean. So yeah, I see where you're coming from. You know, and maybe something better could be done with that. I don't know. You know, just maybe a bit of especially where the Mandalorian's concerned, a bit of communication would be nice. I'm sure if I had have explained why, instead of just a complete blanket of non-information, a lot of people would be satisfied with that, you know?
No, definitely, I agree. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to get the episode back on a positive before we wrap up.
Well, maybe I can give you a thought of the day.
Go on then, let's do it.
Right. Whenever you're having a bad day, just think of the Rancor Keeper.
Oh, don't say that.
That poor bugger. Right?
Bless him.
Just think about it, right? He's walking around there quite happily, and then comes the little blummer upstart and kills his pet, which is probably his best friend. You know?
Well, he's crying quite a bit when he when he dies.
Then he's crying in his room on his own, because all his mates have gone off on a sail barge for a party. The same upstart blows the party up, blows his boss up, so now he's not going to get paid. He's all on his own. You know, if ever you're having a bad day, think of the Rancor Keeper.
And your day could be worse, yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome. Very good analogy there.
Well, that's the best I can do at the minute.
No, that's really good. I think just to end it on a positive note as well for myself, I just want to talk about, I mean, the trailer is absolutely awesome against everything I said. It's the trailer embodies everything about Star Wars, the fun, the excitement, the swashbuckling adventure, also the deepness, the emotional drive in the story, all that's there. Yeah. Awesome. And I can't wait for December to see the movie.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
It is indeed. That's what a couple of podcasts I listen to that I really enjoy. And maybe anybody listening could check those out as well. Got Sky Talkers there, run by Charlotte and Caitlin. In my opinion, it's the best Star Wars podcast on the planet. Sort of those guys know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
They research things properly. They're very clever, but they're also very fun. And you can tell how much they love Star Wars, and it's great to hear them sort of put that knowledge and that wisdom to Star Wars.
Cool.
And that intelligence to Star Wars. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Check out the Doggy Diva show, who obviously we had Brian on last episode. He's one half of that show. Brian and Savannah, the Doggy Diva show. Check that out. It's fun, it's energetic, it's crazy. It's Star Wars. Go and listen to that. I get lots of joy from that. If you want to also go check out the Force Cast, it's great for news, like breaking news. You get a really great inside scoop from Ryan and Daniel over at the Force Cast. So anybody should definitely check that out for a lot of Star Wars information.
Cool.
Is there any podcasts or any YouTubers that you watch, Alan, that you want to promote?
Peter, I honestly haven't had time to go on podcasts and things like that. I mean, I know it's a bit hypocritical since I'm sitting here talking on one. You know what I mean? But
well, you can just plug this one. You tell everyone how to listen. Keep listening to us.
Keep listening to Star Wars. You know, eventually we might cheer ourselves up and come out with some happy.
Yeah. Well, eventually we might get a little bit good, mightn't we? So that would be good.
One day, you never know. You know.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
So just to finish the show. Oh, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I just want to say one small thank you to Bandai. Because they're quite nicely, you know, when I was in Celebration and I bought the Snowspeeder and the ATST.
Yeah.
And, you know, I want to convert them and I want to take the windows out and actually put drivers in there. And I've been struggling, like, you know, I'm trying not to find the swear word, but I've been struggling to find drivers to put in there that are to my satisfaction. Just want to say a small thank you to Bandai because their Snowspeeder and ATST are nigh on exactly the same scale, which means I've now got drivers for them and I can do the job. So
awesome. Brilliant. So your little conversion job's nearly finished?
Haven't even started it. I'm busy working on something else yet, but I've got the stuff there and somewhere in the middle of next year I'll get started.
For those who don't realise how bad Alan is with getting behind on his art projects, Alan's a great artist and he has lots of projects on the go. Alan, you own the biggest Lego set in history, the Millennium Falcon, don't you?
Oh, yes.
Which you haven't built yet, have you?
No, that's for retirement, man.
So there we go.
Yeah. When I get my little bungalow wherever, I'm going to take the whole sitting room up with it.
I think that would look great in like a glass coffee table. Make your own coffee table out of glass and put him in the middle.
Yeah, or even the floor. Getting the perspex, taking the floorboards out, getting the perspex floor, and then just putting it in there. You know, something like that. Or, you know, just fill it with resin or something. I don't know. There's a million ideas.
There certainly is. I'm not allowed that Millennium Falcon because it's too expensive. Both my mother and my girlfriend say.
You know, maybe I might let you make a couple of stages on my way.
Well, yeah. Let me put the side dish on.
Yeah, cool. It's a
Awesome. So just for social media, obviously Alan does not have social media because he doesn't want the government to track him down. But I do have social media. I am on Twitter and Instagram at Pete Hitman Hart, as in the wrestler Bret Hart. He's my favourite. Star Boars is on Twitter at Boars Star, because the Star Boars handle is actually owned by someone who hasn't been inactive for like 5 years. So, I'm thinking there's a way to get that back, but I think we'll wait and see. But yeah, so it's at Boars Star, and then you can also email it in the podcast. We've got a Gmail now, so it's starboarspodcast@gmail.com. So if you've got any thoughts about the show, any questions, fire them over to starboarspodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, guys. Hope you enjoyed this look at the Rise of Skywalker trailer. So excited for this movie. It's going to be so awesome. Can we survive the 50 odd days it is now till the movie? I hope so.
Yeah.
But it's going to be an exciting time. We've got some awesome books to read up to that point. Resistance Reborn, we need to get that. We need to read that.
Yeah.
We need to get the Force Collector. We need to read the Force Collector as well. It's going to tie in. And there's some awesome comics that they're going to tie in as well. So there's a lot of reading to get done. Also a lot of viewing. We need to, as I said, we need to go and rewatch the Mortis arc. We need to go and rewatch the World Between Worlds arc from Rebels and Clone Wars, respectively, to get ready for this movie. So we've got lots to keep occupied for the 50-odd days that we're waiting. But thanks for joining us, Alan. It's been great.
Oh, no problems. Anytime, Peter.
Brilliant. So I've been Peter. He's been Alan. May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you. Okay, bye.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Bye.
Bye.